Before we start, just a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. Only 2% are subscribed. At 1,000 subscribers, I'll be posting a special video. His forearm lifts across the hall. Stop sign, no escape. I pivot left toward the door. He steps with me, calm eyes, locked stance. Air thins as if the house is holding its breath. Something waits past this standoff, and I can already feel it bite. I'm leaving. My hand lands on the knob, slick with sweat. 2 minutes, he eases closer, voice level, too level for this. I brace for the old swing that never comes. I'm Liam, 26, and my heartbeat counts down a choice. He opens his palm, a thin envelope rests there unopened. He doesn't push it at me, he just lets it hang. The paper catches on his thumb as if it hates him. My ribs start to ache, fight or run right now. Burn it if you want, he places it on the table. No grand speech, no soft apology, just a line drawn. The room feels narrow and angled, like it wants witnesses. I stay standing because sitting would mean this is safe. He shifts his weight, old knee, slow bend, controlled breath. I need you to look, he taps the corner once measured. The tap lands like a countdown on my nerves. Every second he waits grows teeth. Last week changed things, he keeps the table between us. My grip tightens on the chair back, knuckles pale, jaw locked. He watches my hands, not my face, which rattles me. If he knows my tells, what else does he know? 5 minutes, he sets his phone face down beside it. I hate the word minutes, it always shrinks me. I nod because the door is still behind him. I nod because something ugly just woke up. He slides the envelope closer, no rush, no flourish. I don't touch it, my fingertips hover and retreat. He doesn't move either, he lets my fear do laps. That patience feels like a trap I built myself. Before you open it, hear one thing, he keeps his tone dry. Whatever is there, none of it hurts you tonight. My throat clicks, tonight is doing a lot of work. If not tonight, then when? He reaches for the phone, then stops halfway, small flinch. That tiny hitch says more than any speech would. It tastes like a warning, salt on a split lip. I realize I am already inside the event. I hook a finger under the flap, slow, deliberate, no retreat. The paper lifts with a sound that makes me wince. He looks away as if the ceiling might judge us. I wish I could step out of my own skin. Do you want me here? His hands fold, then unfold, uneven. Stay, the word leaves me before I approve it. I am not ready for whatever this proves. He pushes the phone toward me without unlocking it. After you read, listen to that, he draws one long breath. Something shifts behind his composure, hairline crack held tight. He has waited for this moment, maybe too long. I am the one who makes it land or break. I pull out the contents, sharp corners, official weight, spare text. My eyes track lines that refuse to settle. Heat crawls up my neck while the house stays silent. The page hums like a live wire in my hands. He leans back a step, space offered, not surrendered. My shoulders drop a fraction, then rise again, false calm. He notices, his jaw flexes, then eases, practice at restraint. I realize he's scared of me walking away. Say the word if you need water, his voice barely shifts. I shake my head because thirst is not the problem. Words sit heavy behind my teeth, waiting their turn. Whatever I say next will change the room. I flatten the packet with my palm, paper crackles, then I pull. A single sheet stares up with boxes and blunt headings. My fingers want to fold it back closed, but I read. Letters align into meaning, and my pulse jumps the fence. 2 names, a result line, percentages that leave no wiggle room. Air moves shallow as I brace my stance against the counter. My throat tightens not from surprise but from the certainty. I lower the page before my grip leaves creases I will regret. He doesn't come closer, he anchors himself an arm's length away. His gaze stays on my knuckles, not on what I'm holding. Say it out loud if you can, he keeps his shoulders steady. I don't, I nod once and that nod changes the floor. The device on the counter vibrates, short buzz waiting permission. He turns it toward me with 2 fingers and steps back. Play the top one, he clears his voice then locks his jaw. I tap the screen and steel myself for a familiar cut. Static, then a voice that drags nails across old nerves. My spine goes rigid as my name drops like a thrown brick. Not a greeting, a warning dressed as a favor delivered late. The message promises a visit, then names a price I recognize. I pause the audio mid-threat because my chest needs space. Across from me, he releases air slowly through his nose. He doesn't flinch from the recording, which throws me off balance. Keep going, he flexes his fingers once, then rests them flat. The rant continues, slurs, timelines, a plan that circles the house. Dates line up with empty weekends that used to sting. My jaw works while my mind counts how many near misses ha. Peepend. The message ends on a promise I believe too easily. I press the screen dark and hold my breath for 4 beats. The room is loud with nothing, just the thud inside my chest. Who else knows about that call? My voice lands heavier than planned. He shakes his head once and my shoulders climb again. Show me the log, my hand hovers until he nudges it over. He unlocks it and angles the display so I can read. List after list, missed calls, 2 recordings, 1 deleted entry. I tap the trash icon history and wait for an answer that matters. Recovered last night, he taps a folder I didn't notice at first. My eyes track the timestamp, which sits too close to now. Why recover it now? I ask with my hands open. Because the person backing him up is gone, his stare doesn't blink. The word gone lands with edges, and I swallow against the slice. I don't ask who because I already understand the pattern. I look back at the report and see what it makes real. The room shifts and my choices rearrange themselves like sliding tiles. Okay, I set the page down and straighten my shoulders. You kept distance on purpose, my mouth tastes like iron and dust. I kept breathing because you did, he rubs his wrist and stops. The sentence hangs there and I feel it anyway. He points to the signature line and then pulls his hand back. You can file a copy or tear it up right now. My pulse steadies as I weigh both options against what comes next. I fold the paper once, then flat it out again for later. Listen to the second recording, he pushes the device just an inch. I tap play, prepared for more heat, but get something colder. A schedule, drop-off points, another number that makes my skin prickle. Not just rage, logistics, that detail changes the game. I stop it and set the phone down with care. He watches me for permission that I'm not ready to grant. Breakfast tomorrow, the offer lands with no sugar and no bow. Answers then, he waits while I test the shape of trust. I gather the report and tuck it beneath my palm. My voice finds a steadier line than I expected this fast. I'll be here in the morning and you will talk straight. His shoulders fall half an inch and mine climb anyway. The doorbell drills my nerves, 1 long blast, then silence. He's already moving, 2 quick steps, 1 flat palm toward me. I freeze mid-breath as he checks the peephole. His shoulders square and he motions me back now. Package, he keeps his voice low and clipped. I nod once and angle myself out of sight. The handle turns slow, then stops at the chain. Leave it there, his tone stays dry but his stance hardens. Footsteps retreat across the porch, light, unhurried, wrong for this street. He waits through a count, then shuts the door again. A small box sits against the threshold like bait. He looks at me and I feel the question land. Do not touch it, I shake my head then breathe. He grabs a towel and flips the flap with careful pressure. Inside, a cheap burner thuds against cardboard without padding. He stares at it like it might blink. The device lights by itself and throws an unknown number. He hits speaker and sets it between us like a grenade. Pick up, his fingers hover then pull back on purpose. I press the icon because we are past careful. Hey kid, the voice arrives relaxed and oily. My spine draws tight and my jaw locks against response. You like gifts, a laugh creeps through the line. Got plans for you tonight, the laugh dies flat. Where? My mouth beats my fear by half a second. Bridge on Mason, a pause hangs longer than needed. Bring the new guardian if he wants to keep breathing. The call ends with a click that feels rehearsed. I don't look up for 3 breaths because anger blinds. He reaches under the sink and pulls a metal box. A code spins under his thumb until the latch pops. He palms 2 small items and closes it hard. Not for show, he slides a slim can into my hand. Only if someone grabs you, his stare drills me still. I test the safety tab and memorize the movement. My chest settles a notch, then kicks higher again. We call the police, the sentence leaves before doubts catch up. He shakes his head and points at the phone on the table. The number is masked and the device pings from nowhere. They will arrive late and spook him early. Then we set the terms, I paste 2 lines and stop. He watches my feet like they carry the answer. No ambush unless he strikes first, my voice steadies on grit. His mouth tightens but he nods once for now. A text lands on the burner, one word soon. He turns it face down and breathes through his nose. We move before he chooses ground, he points to the door. I pocket the can and the report and follow. We step outside like we owe the street money. He scans the corners while I check the nearby parked car. A dashboard camera winks and then goes blank. Eyes on us already, my stomach throws. A cold knot. Back inside, he grabs a marker and a plain map. He circles 2 exits and crosses 1 alley route. Stay in the light until the last 30 yards. Then cut across and keep your head down. Why trust a meeting? I keep my voice barely above a whisper. Because he wants control more than chaos, his jaw works once. He needs to see your face to feel big. I hate how true that sounds in my bones. The burner rings again, short pulse, voicemail this time. He plays it without comment and leans his weight forward. Come alone or I paint your doorstep red. Silence follows like an order we can't accept. No solo walk, I fix him with a look that dares pushback. He drags a chair between us and plants it hard. I will be there but I will not show first. I nod because I can live with that balance. We move through a checklist that feels stolen from training. No jewelry, no hood, wallet zipped in back pocket. Phone on silent but emergency contacts pinned in memory. Watch for a second vehicle shadowing the road. Signal if anything breaks, he points to my shoulder. 3 taps means go loud and run. 1 tap means stall, 2 means head fake and circle. I repeat the pattern until it sits in muscle. He opens the fridge and hands me water without comment. Small sips, he counts while I drink and find my center. People faint when they lock their knees too long. My knees bend and the floor steadies a fraction. Time, I check the oven clock and then the door. He pockets the burner and turns off every unneeded switch. Leave lights by the back on, leave front off. He listens one last time and then waves me out. We reach the car and he stops with a raised palm. Keys stay with you, he passes them and watches my grip. You are not cargo anymore, the words hit like friction. I put the keys in my front pocket and feel them bite. The street is clear but my skin expects movement. We slide in and lock the doors at the same beat. He sets the burner on the dashboard and arms the dash cam. I track both mirrors and count breaths to a steady 5. As we pull away, he speaks without looking over. If we bail together, no hero stunts. My throat tightens but I answer with a quick nod. The bridge sits ahead and something ugly waits under it. Tires kiss gravel as we roll to a crawl, engine low. He taps the steering wheel twice and points to the span. I clock 3 shadows by the guardrail and 1 farther off. We park short of the rendezvous because distance buys choices. Window down 2 inches, he makes a slicing motion, no debate. I obey and listen for steps instead of words. Nothing obvious, just the river chewing at the banks. He lifts his chin toward the pedestrian path and waits. I go first, my hand is already on the handle. He holds up 3 fingers, then drops them one by one. I slide out and keep my arms loose at my sides. Every step maps to the exits we rehearsed. Movement, a figure edges from the support beam, lazy swagger. Another form stays back near a parked van, engine idling. Stop there, the voice carries like it owns the night. I stop and plant both heels where they can see. Thought you'd dodge me again, he grins without joy and sniffs. I scan his posture and clock an uneven stance. Talk fast, I keep my shoulders forward and my chin level. He flicks a look past me, checking for an escort. Where's the babysitter? He smirks and toys with a lighter. Nearby, I keep it bland because bluff beats panic. He laughs once and then his eyes go flat. Bring him out or I start taking things. Keys jingle behind me, doors unlock with a thud. He steps out and leaves the car between us. Hands visible, torso squared, pace steady and unhurried. He stops beside me and lets silence press harder. Payment ended, he rests his forearms against the rail. We are finished with your errands and your threats. The grin drains from the man by the beam. He flicks the lighter again and looks toward the van. A side door slides a handspin then closes. We both hear a muffled cough from inside. I shift my weight and tap my shoulder once, stall. He nods without glancing at me, understood. Here's the correction, the man motions toward the van. Someone in there gets hurt if you two grandstand. He holds up a small remote with a cracked case. My stomach tightens as he dots his thumb across the button. Let me see who, I lift a palm slow and calm. After we agree, he flashes the remote and pockets it. Bring the paper and the pretty phone records. He licks a tooth like he already owns them. Not happening, he plants his feet and doesn't blink. Then I pull one door and change your life. The van's engine revs and settles like a dare. My grip finds the spray and hooks on the safety. Proof first, I edge one step toward the van. The man tracks me and waves me back with 2 fingers. He whistles and the sliding door moves another inch. Awry. Then appears tied with rough tape, small and shaking. Enough, heat spikes my neck and I hear my pulse. Let's trade here and now, I keep my voice even. He considers, then throws a nod toward the midpoint. We walk 3 paces and stop on his mark. Documents, he taps his jacket pocket and waits. I pull the folded page and keep the corner pinched. He reaches out and I pull it back halfway. Remote on the ground, I meet his stare and hold. He smiles like a teacher, indulging a slow student. Count of 3, he pulls the remote and lowers it. It lands between us, cheap plastic taped battery compartment. He keeps the toe of his boot on it. Kick it, he shakes his head like I insulted him. Your friend can do it, he gestures past me careless. The moment he looks away, I move. Spray up, thumb down, short burst across the eyes. He screams, a rough bark, hand flying to his face. Boot lifts off the device and skitters it toward me. I scoop it and fling it behind us hard. He lunges with both arms wide like a blind bull. The van door jumps open and someone yells to hurry. He bolts left to intercept, knees wobbling, breath ragged. I break right and sprint for the sliding door. A thin figure shifts toward the gap and stumbles. A man from the passenger seat jumps out swinging. He catches my shoulder but I spin under the arm. He reaches again and I jam the spray into his throat. He folds against the bumper and grabs at nothing. Cut the tape, he throws me a pocket blade, quick arc. I catch it wrong and nick my thumb. I slice the binding and pull the kid forward. He winces and clutches my sleeve like a rope. Back to the car, he shields our path with his body. The man at the beam rubs his face and rages. He yanks something from his waistband and lifts it wrong. I slap the blade against the van and throw noise. Metal clangs, heads turn, a horn in the distance blares. He uses that beat to grab the man's wrist. Wrist turns, elbow locks, something drops and skitters away. The man gasps and swings wild with the other hand. I push the kid behind me and angle toward the sedan. The van lurches forward 2 feet and stalls. The driver curses and fumbles for the gear. Go, he herds us with his shoulder and keeps eyes on threats. We dive into the back seat and slam the doors. He starts the engine on the first twist and floors it. The van jerks after us and then gives up a lane. I hold the kid down while we pass the last pylon. Eyes, he checks the mirrors and breathes through his teeth. No chase for now, only flashing rage in the side glass. He tosses me a cloth and nods at the kid's wrists. I wrap them in tie knots that will hold for 2 miles. My phone buzzes with a blocked number again. I let it ring out and throw it in the console. He angles onto the frontage road and kills the headlights. We coast into a turnout and listen for pursuit that never arrives. The kid whispers a name and asks if we're safe. Not yet, my voice is steady and lower than normal. He meets my eyes and then looks at the man driving. Trust hangs there, fragile and heavier than fear. We finish this tonight, he keeps both hands locked at 10 and 2. I know what finish means in his mouth now. The remote sits under my heel, useless and cracked. Something else is going to break before this ends. We roll into the turnout and kill momentum fast. A pair of lights sweeps the ridge and then fades. He keeps us idling in neutral while I scan the road. No tail yet, but the quiet feels staged. Head down, I guide the kid flat across the seat. He cracks a question and bites it when I lift a hand. Breath through your nose, my voice stays low and certain. We wait until my ears stop ringing with leftover panic. The burner vibrates in his pocket like an insistence. He places it on the console and flips to speaker. You made a mess, the drawl drips false amusement. Round 2, same rules, fewer chances. Where, I keep it clipped so he hears control. Depot off harbor, a chuckle lingers then hardens. Bring documents and the kid stays unscathed. The line goes dead before I can bait distance. He looks at me and raises one eyebrow. Choice time. Not the depot, I trace streets on memory and timing. Too many blind corners and stacked metal. He nods once and taps out a reply. Location changed, he types a new point with steady thumbs. Park by the old diner, he adds a timestamp and waits. A reply lands fine plus a crude threat. I feel my teeth grind and let them. We need a watcher, he angles his chin toward the frontage. I scan storefronts and pick the laundromat across the lot. Wide glass, steady foot traffic, easy exit if something burns. We stage the kid there on loop. We cross to the curb and move like we belong. Inside the doorway, a clerk glances up and returns to folding. I kneel to the kid and keep my voice plain. You sit near the door and count to 200. He clutches my SL. Even shakes. I will be in the next building, I point through the pane. Tap the window if anyone bothers you. He nods but his fingers stay hooked until I pry them. Back in the car, we cut around the block slow. He dials a local number from memory and clears his throat. Check the bridge camera feed, 2 words then silence. A beep answers short and efficient, then disconnects. Insurance, he drifts us toward an alley with a view. I watch the laundromat door while the minutes creep. The burner lights again with a fresh demand, come alone. He thumbs a period and writes, you first. A delivery truck blocks our sightline for 3 beats. I hold my breath until it rolls past and clears. The kid is still in the chair, eyes on the glass. A woman laughs behind him, and that calms the room by accident. We head to the diner lot and park nose out. He pockets the burner and checks his wrist by habit. 3 taps leave, 2 taps stall, 1 misdirect. I repeat it without thinking and it sticks deeper. A sedan drifts in and angles across 2 spaces. I mark a dented fender and a missing plate frame. Driver stays inside, posture slouched, hat low. The passenger scans the roofline like he expects company. Not him, he watches posture and hands, not faces. The sedan lingers, then rolls away like it just remembered chores. I don't like that move and he doesn't either. We wait 30 counts before shifting the plan. Switch cars, he keeps it quiet and simple. We slide into a panel van left by the side street. He pulls a magnet key from under the wheel and smiles once. Borrowed permission, he twists the ignition and we drift. The burner pings again, 5 minutes or I start breaking things. He types back, then meet the camera at the booth. We crawl along the curb until the payphone comes into view. A man steps from behind it, rubbing his eyes like a hangover. Not him either, I track the shoulders and the walk. This one carries frustration, not command. He glances around and ducks back behind the booth. Runner, he agrees and taps the horn once. A second figure appears at the corner and checks both lanes. He carries a small bag and walks like he owns the block. He pitches something into the trash and rests his forearm on the post. My skin registers recognition before my head does. I slide out and move toward the trash can. He stays in the driver's seat and watches angles. The figure smirks and flicks a coin at my feet. Pick up the present and behave. I lift the lid with 2 fingers and see the device. Cheap like the last one but rigged with a taped wire. My mouth goes dry as I clock a blinking dot under the tape. Tracker, I whisper it and let the lid drop. He hears me and shifts the van to block the sightline. Detach it and leave the shell, his voice stays even. I pinch the wire and yank the beacon free. It pulses once in my palm like a heartbeat that isn't mine. The figure squints, sensing something he can't see. I take 2 steps toward the storm drain and crouch. The beacon slips through the grate and lands with a faint clack. He angles the van so the mirror faces the booth. Walk to the booth, the figure crooks a finger and grins. I go but I keep 1 foot ready to pivot. He leans on the frame and keeps his voice lazy. Where's the hero driver? Close enough, I look past him at the buildings. He rolls his wrist and laughs under his breath. Bring the packet and you get the reunion. I hold his stare until he blinks first. Prove you have anyone left to trade, I tilt my head. He jerks a thumb toward the alley and clicks his tongue. A door opens halfway and a silhouette shifts behind it. The outline is small but not the kid from earlier. Try again, I don't look away this time. He frowns and checks the alley like a man who lost track. The van's mirror catches his slip and I file it. He curses and signals toward the far curb. A motorcycle growls into the lot and idles near us. The rider dismounts and drags a backpack off one shoulder. He places it on the ground and taps the top twice. Payment cleared, now your turn. I crouch and unzip 2 inches and then stop. Stacked envelopes stare back with numbers scrawled across each band. I close it and nudge it back with my shoe. You brought bait, not family. He spits on the asphalt and wipes his mouth. You think I'm a clown? Fine, let's escalate. He snaps his fingers toward the rider and points at the van. The rider takes a step and I shift left to cut him. Tap signal, he drums once on the wheel and waits. I brush my shoulder and choose one tap, misdirect. He guns the engine and rolls forward like a customer leaving. The rider turns his head and I kick the backpack under the booth. The figure lurches to grab it and loses footing. I slam the booth door against his shoulder and pin him. The rider lunges and catches my sleeve with his glove. I wrench free and jam the spray up under the helmet. He stumbles back, coughing hard, arms flailing wide. The figure under the door claws for the bag and cries out. I put my weight on the door and hear a joint pop. His hand releases and I yank the pack away. To the van, he lines up the open sliding door. I sprint, then hook right as the rider charges blind. He crashes into the booth and drags the phone down. Sparks spit and a car alarm screams across the lot. We dive in and slam the door as the rider recovers. He floors it and clips a parking block with the rear tire. The motorcycle fishtails and topples near the entrance. A crowd gathers, phones out, eyes wide. The burner rattles with another message: you fail at simple tasks. He doesn't answer because the cameras now do it for us. We round the corner and cut behind the grocery. I unzip the pack and stare at a second burner still sealed. I hold it up and feel dread crawl. He keeps driving but flicks his gaze to the mirror. Power it on, he passes me a rag with his left hand. I wrap the D. Evis and press the button through fabric. It boots to a single screen with a timer at 0. A text appears: open me at home. Another line follows, or I take a door off its hinges. Cold moves through me because I know which door that means. Home is off limits, he bites off each word and turns hard. We circle back to the kid first. I call the laundromat and the clerk answers on the second ring. He's fine, she keeps it brisk and hangs up. We cut across 2 side streets and park out of sight. I step inside and find him counting under his breath. He sees me and bolts into my arms without hesitation. I hold longer than I planned because something cracks inside. Back in the van, we put him in the middle seat. He grips the handle with both hands and refuses to blink. You're riding with us until morning. He nods like he can handle the whole world. The sealed phone buzzes twice and then stops. He angles it away from the kid and lifts his brows. If we go home, we spring a trap. If we stay out, he visits the house anyway. We choose the battlefield. I pull air slowly and decide. Front yard lights on, neighbors awake, door locked. He thinks for one beat and then smiles without joy. We make the neighborhood our witness. We roll into our street and stop one house short. He hands me the older burner and tucks the new one. Call the number he used for the threats. Put it on speaker when he picks up. I dial and listen to the ring crackle. He answers on the first tone: you move slow for a brave kid. Front porch in 5, I cut him off like I own him. Bring whoever you still have. He laughs, then the line clicks and goes dark. I pocket the phone and unclip my belt fast. Kid stays in the van with the doors locked. He turns the key and keeps the engine ready. We step out and walk up the path side by side. My legs feel wired but my head is clear. I place the sealed device on the mat and step back. He stands to my left and scans the street. A sedan rolls in and stops where our mailbox starts. 2 figures climb out and leave the car running. One carries nothing, one grips a length of pipe. The shorter one smiles and shows me empty hands. I'm right on time, he spreads his arms like a showman. No surprises, just closure and a quick exchange. He points at the sealed device like it is sacred. Open it and we end this neat. Trade first, I hold up the packet he wants. He lifts a palm and wags a finger, lecture cadence. Open, then we talk. He motions the tall guy forward by a step. I pick up the device and slice the tape with a key. He leans in just enough to let me see his pupils. The phone unlocks straight into a video thumbnail. I press play and the porch suddenly feels smaller. The clip shows our front steps from last night. A gloved hand hides under the rail and plants a small shape. The camera shifts to our side gate and holds. A face leans into frame and smirks at the lens. He tilts his head and watches me instead of the screen. That's your warning, he taps his chest once. Next is demolition of comfort. The tall guy bounces the pipe in his palm. I hand the phone to the man at my side. He studies the clip and grinds his teeth once. Check the rails, he moves to the post and pries a cap. A tracker sits there, winking like a smug insect. I pluck it out and shove it against the tall guy's chest. Lost and found, he swats it to the ground with a snarl. The shorter one claps slowly and grins. You're quick when fear helps. Here's quicker, I flick the spray and aim low. He jumps back and the mist catches his throat. He coughs and stumbles but keeps smiling through tears. Now we're playing for keeps. The tall guy lunges with the pipe and swings wide. I duck and feel air bite above my hairline. The pipe thunders against the post and shudders. He lifts again but a hand clamps his wrist from behind. My partner twists once, clean and practiced, and the pipe drops. The tall guy buckles and knees hit the boards. He locks the elbow and waits for a decision. The short one steps back and reaches for his waistband. No, the word drops out of my mouth like a brick. I toss the packet into the yard to pull his eyes. He tracks the arc and opens his grip by reflex. I charge the gap and slam him into the rail. We clatter to the step and roll hard. He claws for my face and I trap the wrist. His breath stinks of adrenaline and cheap bravado. I drive my forearm across his collar and hold. Sirens howl 3 blocks away and get louder fast. He hears them and thrashes like a netted animal. Choice time, I speak into his ear and mean it. Leave now or leave in cuffs. He spits a curse and shoves off with both heels. He wriggles free and bolts for the sedan without looking back. The tall guy limps after him, cradling an arm like glass. They dive inside and fishtail away from the curb. I stand there shaking and look at my hands. He steps in front of me and checks for damage. We both breathe in sync without planning it. The kid's face presses to the van window like a moon. We walk to him and open the sliding door. You did it, he grips my sleeve and refuses to let go. Not finished, he glances at the street and then at me. Camera's got enough, now we answer the phone. The older burner buzzes in my pocket like an alarm. I answer and keep my jaw tight. You wanted neat, you got loud instead. Next time you misjudge me, it costs more. The line is silent for a full slow count. Then a whisper slides through, you think that man beside you is clean. The hairs on my arms lift because I hear certainty. Tomorrow, I get the call and lower the phone. He watches me and waits for the hit to land. I meet his eyes and force my voice steady. Breakfast at 8, full disclosure, no excuses. He nods once and I know the truth is bigger than tonight. I wake to the doorbell again, 2 quick rings, then a knock. He stands already dressed, jaw tight, eyes searching my face. We do this now, he gestures toward the kitchen and waits. I nod once because I want the blade pulled clean. We sit across from each other, no plates, no coffee. He unlocks a folder with a small click that sounds final. 3 printouts fan across the table like cards for judgment. Ask and I'll show, don't ask and I'll still show. Start with last night, I lean forward and brace my elbows. He nudges a photo of the porch rail with a pen. Tracker planted by a courier I once used for favors. The word favors lands crooked and I keep my eyes on him. Why did he have your access? My finger taps the corner. Because I hired him last winter for a different problem. He got bold after that and I let it slide. Let it slide hits me harder than any threat. He flips to a bank ledger and points to 4 deposits. Money moved through a shell to keep him away from you. Not forever, just long enough to get you clear. My chest tightens because clear has a price I can count. Did you ever tip him off about my schedule? He draws a breath and holds it 1 heartbeat too long. I confirmed you were at work once when he asked. The room shrinks and I taste copper at the back of my tongue. Why tell me now? I press the next page flat and wait. Because he turned the tables and started using me as cover. He left packages where I would find them first. He wanted me framed as the messenger that never refuses. I push the folder away and slide the sealed phone across. Open it, I keep my tone even because rage clouds aim. He taps the screen and scrolls through a hidden album. 2 clips sit under a locked icon that opens to his thumb. The first clip shows the courier at our mailbox Tuesday. The second shows the same man meeting the one from the bridge. They share a handshake and swap a small key. My stomach drops because the choreography looks practiced. Are you working both sides? My voice comes out low and hard. No, he sets the phone down and folds his hands tight. I played translator to keep them predictable. I ended it when they reached for you. A knock hits the front door, sharp and official. He stands but waits for my nod, my call now. I open it to 2 uniforms and a woman with a notepad. We received multiple reports about an altercation and a vehicle. The lead officer scans us. We have footage. I gesture to the hallway and step aside. He keeps close but gives me half a stride in front. The officer accepts the drive from his hand without questions. Her partner clocks the scuff post and scribbles fast. Any injuries? The notepad hovers near my chest. Bruises, nothing else. I lift my sleeve and let them look. Someone threatened our house on video. We can identify faces. The last sentence lands like a promise. They leave as a tow truck drags a dented motorcycle past our curb. Neighbors pretend to water plants and whisper into phones. He locks the door and leans against it for 3 long breaths. I have one more piece and it's the worst. Do it. I keep my feet planted so I don't drift. He pulls a small envelope from his back pocket and pauses. Inside, a photo shows him standing outside a county office. Next to him is my father, smiling like he won a trophy. 3 years ago, he stares at the surface, not my face. He forced a meeting with leverage I couldn't ignore. He wanted access to you at holidays. I agreed to a single conversation in a public building. The photo shakes in my grip, and I flatten it on the table. You told me you missed that day because of work. I lied because the panic in your eyes would shatter me. He rubs his wrist once, and I hear the bones grind. What happened inside that building? My mouth feels lined with grit. He tried to hug me for the cameras he planted. I blocked him and he laughed in my ear. He said I was raising another man's son for free. The folder edges. Cut my palm as I slide it away. You still went alone. My voice breaks and reforms. I went so you didn't have to hear his voice again. I failed anyway because last night dragged him back. The kid from the van pads into the doorway and watches us. He hesitates until I open my hand and wave him closer. You stay here for now. I point to a chair and nod. He sits small but steady, and something in me steadies too. My phone pulses with a new message from a blocked line. Open your mail, last warning, clock's running. I turn the screen so he can see every letter. He reaches for the folder and pulls one last page free. Not from him, he traces a stamp I don't recognize. Court notice tied to one of his old associates. Hearing tomorrow about asset seizure and cooperation. If he loses that shield, he gets reckless. So we force daylight before he changes costumes. I feel a click inside, not relief, just alignment. He nods and reaches for the landline for the first time. He dials a number and gives a case reference like a password. Detective Ramos, he keeps it short and procedural. 2 suspects, 1 location, 1 witness. He sets a meet for noon at the precinct. I clock the time and feel the ground stop tilting. Before we go public, you promised truth. I stand and circle the table because stillness hurts. Did you ever raise a hand to scare me? No, he meets my eyes and does not blink. Did you ever take money from him? He shakes his head once and lets it stay there. I took blows, not bills. The words ring without performance and I believe them. Why didn't you push harder to be in my life? His mouth tightens as if the answer tasted bitter. You flinched when I raised a hand to wave. I chose to be furniture until you wanted a chair. The kid watches us like a referee who understands stakes. Are we safe? His voice barely rises above a whisper. Safer every minute. I squeeze his shoulder and hold. He nods and stares at the locked door like it might breathe. The notepad officer texts a link to a secure upload portal. I move the files while he writes a summary without adjectives. We attach the porch clip and the bridge audio. The progress bar crawls, and I count each percent like prayer. When it finishes, I turn back to him and the folder. We aren't hiding this part either. I tap the test result. Not to weaponize it, to end the guessing. He closes his eyes, then opens them with something like resolve. Son, the word lands quiet and I let it stay. He doesn't reach for me, I don't step back. We stand in the middle distance and let the name sit. It fits, not perfect but earned. A horn outside breaks the moment into usable pieces. A squad car rolls by slow and then picks up speed. The neighborhood exhales and pretends to reset. We know better, and that knowledge makes us quick. Pack essentials, he points to the hallway and grabs a bag. 2 changes and the documents. Nothing sentimental he can turn into leverage. We move like a team that already trained for this. On the porch, I stop and look at the rail again. My skin prickles at the memory of that blinking dot. I yank every cap and drop them into a metal bowl. No more beacons in places meant for laning. We load the car and lock the house with deliberate care. He checks the mailbox for tampering and finds none today. I photograph the steps, the curb, the neighbor's porch camera. We build a trail that fingers can't deny. Before we leave, I call my mother and keep it tight. Meet us at noon at the station. Bring your ID and your patience. She hears something in my tone and does not argue. We pull away and I watch the block shrink in the mirror. The kid asks if we are coming back tonight. After we plant this in the system where it sticks. He nods and presses his forehead to the glass like a vow. At the light, my phone buzzes one last time. A picture of our empty porch arrives with a caption, "Soon." I forward it to the detective without a word. Then I delete the thread because that belongs to evidence now. As the city rises ahead, he looks over and waits. Breakfast after the station, he lifts one hand off the wheel. With pancakes, his mouth almost smiles and then holds. Yeah, with pancakes. I let the word son sit between us like armor.